Today we are discussing the health benefits of physical activity for the elderly population. Social cognitive theory determines human behavior by looking at how it is influenced by various factors. These factors include cognitive, such as knowledge, expectations, and attitudes, environmental, like social norms, and behavioral factors like self-efficacy. Social cognitive theory will adopt goals to increase motivation, which will lead to various outcomes and efficacy expectancies to occur. The three most well-known theories in health and exercise psychology are social cognitive theory, theory of plane behavior, and the trans-theoretical model. Many elderly people are not physically active. Many are generally unaware of the amount, intensity, and types of physical activity needed for health benefit. Some factors that affect physical activity include lack of motivation. For some, it may be hard to know what to do to stay in shape at such an old age. It can be hard to find motivation or facilities guided towards their needs in staying active. Cost. Another major factor being cost. The elderly are retired and could potentially not be making enough money to afford exercise programs or gym memberships. Some of these facilities could be expensive. For example, paying for training if needed, since they would be unaware of what program to use. Many elderly people don't think that they are capable of performing any physical activity. They could feel as if they are too old, and that means that they should always be resting. Some may think that physical activity has to be vigorous movements and activities that could lead to injury. Some elderly people may be scared of injury and feel that being physically active will lead to them getting hurt. The elderly will stray away from being physically active as they don't want to potentially get hurt, even though they are at a higher risk of injury due to not exercising. Exercising will help them become stronger and prevent from injury. Another reason being transportation. Many elderly people are not able to drive or do not have access to transportation to get them to and from the necessary places.
Research found that when developing a physical activity intervention plan, the social cognitive theory is beneficial in how it explains behavior in a dynamic and reciprocal model. This takes into consideration personal factors such as beliefs and attitudes, as well as looking at environmental sources, social and physical. Finally, by also considering behavior itself and all interactions that produce a behavior. The social cognitive theory also includes several evidence-based physical activity promotion constructs, such as self-regulation construct, self-efficacy construct, and social support construct. These constructs are used to design an intervention to fit a specific person or culture, allowing them to make any individualized physical activity program.
There are very few limitations within the literature in direct relation to social cognitive theory. So this study is needed to further examine potential interventions which directly relate to this topic. So there are not many interventions that exist which solely focus on the link between physical activity as well as health amongst the elderly population.
The intervention should include a social aspect. This means involving family, friends, and peers in the community into an exercise program can help build one's self-efficacy, which also means they are more likely to participate and continue a behavior if they are capable of doing so. Next, the intervention should include creating high rewards. This means having positive experiences relating to a certain task equals a better chance of building one's own self-efficacy. Also, having one-on-one interviews, checkups, and training to create a more individualized program that is better suited for each individual, as well as giving them the personal support they need to remain encouraged. This also allows for you to check up on their progress to make sure the program is beneficial. Next, the intervention should include a more individualized program, allowing for more motivation, more self-efficacy towards achieving goals, therefore leading to positive changes in the activity levels. This includes designing a program that involves simple tasks one can perform on their own. Next, it should have a supportive environment. This will lead to better health outcomes, a better mindset, and therefore a higher self-efficacy and motivation towards wanting to be physically active. Finally, it should include having high efficacy in one's ability to complete a task, equaling higher self-efficacy in other tasks, which then leads to higher overall self-efficacy and a better performance as well as greater motivation in being physically active. The first method or tool that should be used is interviews. This helps to build motivation by being centered towards each client. It involves open communication leading to overall improvement. This then leads to a greater sense of autonomy, sense of independence, ability to make self-serving decisions, the competent to meet one's own standards, and relatedness and sense of belongingness. These are all basic psychological needs each individual strives for in their life. Creating an intervention that holds these needs as a priority will lead to a greater health outcome of the individuals involved. The next tool is the self-efficacy measures in exercise. First self-efficacy measure is task efficacy. This is looking at the individual and deciding how long they can perform the elemental aspects of any activity. For example, when looking at an individual's heart rate and deciding how long they can do an exercise for that heart rate range. The second self-efficacy measure is scheduling efficacy. This is looking at an individual's schedule and deciding when they will have time to complete an exercise activity. Then, the final self-efficacy measure is coping efficacy. This is working on overcoming any barriers or challenges in an exercise plan. For this age group, it could be the fear of injury, self-confidence, etc. The final tool is the progress tracking tool. This builds upon scheduling efficacy, including regular exercise into a daily routine. This is holding one's own accountability to performing a physical activity and having a schedule that helps the individual become more used to the daily exercise.
Predicting the expected outcomes of the intervention, research within the literature should be used to accurately predict certain outcomes of the intervention. Likely outcomes of the intervention include an increase in self-efficacy in relation to physical activity, as well as performing various exercises. In addition, there are many physical and mental health benefits that are likely to occur as a result of this intervention taking place. This includes both an overall increase in well-being, as well as a lowered risk for osteoporosis in elderly women.
There are many contributions to existing literature. Both physical and mental health interventions can be developed due to this intervention. In addition, this intervention can be a learning opportunity and an opportunity to educate others. Findings can also help with further research. In terms of the feasibility of the study can be easily understood. It can be changed to create further methods, results, and more. Many interventions build off of each other, and there are many ways to incorporate research together.